law of attraction, is what you want what you really want? The law of attraction teaches us that we can get what we want by deciding exactly what that is, and flowing some positive energy towards it. Basically, our thoughts, feelings and beliefs must be in harmony with allowing this thing into our lives. When that happens, the things we want will come to us. But as many of us conscious creators have come to discover, setting our sights on specific desires can really mess with our manifesting mojo. It makes it harder to be in a state of detachment. After all, we want what we want, and it's hard to be all nonchalant when we have convinced ourselves these exact things are what we really want, that they are essential to our happiness. When we determine a particular thing is essential for our happiness, we have a really hard time letting ourselves feel better now, even though we don't have it yet. When we are really attached to something, we have a tendency to try and figure out how we will get it. We tend to develop some pretty strong expectations of how the manifesting path will unfold. And we all know what fun ensues when things happen that don't fit in with those expectations. It is tricky for sure, because naturally, there are things we do feel would enhance our life experience. We feel very drawn towards a certain type of life. Certain things really light our fire. When we look at what we don't like about our life now, it clues us into what we would prefer, and it makes sense to our minds that these are things that must happen for our life to improve. If you don't like struggling financially, a crapload more money must come for you to be happy. If you don't like being single, you must find a relationship. If you have a strong desire to nurture and care for others, you must have a baby. This is not to say that the specific things you want are not what you really want. There is a good chance many of your current desires are a pretty good representation of the energy you want to bring into your life. But sometimes they aren't the best representation. Or you have become overly fixated on a particular channel, when what you want can be delivered in many other ways. You get too attached to a particular outcome, when many outcomes can bring you what you ultimately want. Even though myself and many other Loa teachers have stated this ad nauseum, it is easily forgotten in the midst of strong attachment to specific desires. Ultimately, you are after a feeling. Everything we want is because we believe having it will make us feel better. So, today I wanted to discuss a few things that can hopefully help you get to the root of what you really want, and help you figure out if there is anything going on inside that is blocking more of what is wanted from coming into your life. Is your desire actually a condition for getting what you truly want? This is a really common issue, and it is easy to be totally unaware this is what is happening. In many instances, our mind can't fully accept that what we want is truly possible, regardless of what our life has been like up until now, what type of person we are, etc. We are very used to believing that certain conditions must be met in order for us to get something else, and it is very easy to carry this tendency over into our work with the law of attraction. And in doing this, we can get fixated on a particular manifestation because there is a belief, again, you may not be aware of it, that this thing must happen in order to get what you are really after. Again, you may not make this connection all the time. For some of you, just a little bit of thinking will bring the true desire to the surface. For others, it may take a bit of thought as the connection won't be as obvious. For example, you may be very focused on losing weight. Your conscious mind may link this desire to achieving goals such as feeling better about yourself and improving your health. But, on a deeper level, you may believe the weight loss is necessary in order to get other things that you really want, like the relationship or the better job. You believe if you were thinner, it would be easier to manifest other things. The real driver to lose weight is because you believe you are not good enough now, and as it stands now, you can't get any of the things you want, until you are thinner. And when we work on manifesting things that we have deemed conditions to getting something else, we have a really hard time manifesting them because it will trigger all sorts of resistance. Again, it is really hard to manifest things we believe we need, and that sense of need can be particularly strong around manifestations we believe are a linchpin in getting something else. So sit with this a minute. Think about things you want to manifest, especially things that you may be currently struggling with, and consider if these things are the core desire or a condition you believe must be met in order to get something else. Your mind has to translate energy into some sort of picture. Remember what I said earlier about what you want just being one representation of what you are really after? And what are you really after? You are after a feeling. You want your life to feel a certain way. You want certain energies flowing abundantly, like happiness, peace, security, ease, flow and all those other warm fuzzies. Now while we could just set some light intentions about what we want to manifest, go about our daily business, knowing we can get what we want, and manifesting all sorts of awesomeness that perfectly mirrors back all those delicious feelings to us, it really won't play out that way in practice. We have resistance. We have blocks. We need to engage in tools like visualization to create emotional states that we may have a hard time creating by drawing on our current life experience. We need something on which to focus, so based on what pops into our mind, what is happening in our life now, what we may have been conditioned to want based on our particular culture, what we have been taught to believe should make us happy, so on and so forth, specific scenarios are bound to make their way into our brain. And we think of these specific scenarios when we are visualizing, saying our affirmations, making our vision boards and engaging in whatever other tools we are using. And again, it is easy to get attached to specific manifestations as being the true thing we want. We believe these exact things must happen for us to be happy. But what you are thinking about now is just one representation of what you truly want, and it may or may not be the best representation. Whatever you want to manifest now is almost certainly a very muted version of what is truly possible for you, because you still have a lot of resistance. Your life experience up until now may still be informing your vision for what is possible moving forward. We know we are supposed to be open to a variety of outcomes because as long as we are focused positively and feeling our good feelings now as much as we can, so we can manifest other things that feel just like these good feelings, we often have a very hard time doing this. We worry feeling better now will somehow stop our manifestations in our tracks. We worry if we aren't focusing specifically on something, and doing the work regularly nothing is going to happen. But that's not true. Remember, harnessing the power of the law of attraction is all about what we are being, not what we are doing. So, if you have a business, it is okay to want to manifest success with whatever your current sources of income are, but know your coaching, your products, your ebooks or whatever, are just one channel, and what you are ultimately after is financial prosperity and doing work that is meaningful for you. This doesn't mean you can't find success with those channels, but make sure you see them for what they truly are, channels, not source. Source is the universal energy that can be molded into anything we want, and the channels through which this energy can take shape are infinite. So if you want a relationship, it is okay to want that and you can certainly have that. But know that this is just one representation of what you are truly after, which is to feel a sense of connection, to feel loved and to give love, to be appreciated, and all that other good stuff. Are there any negative associations with getting what you want? This can be another big block because it is hard to become a true match to what we want if there is some part of us that thinks getting this thing may not be so great. There may be some sort of association that is negative. We may believe that getting this thing will somehow lead to something we don't want or complicate our life in some way. Let's talk about fear of success to start. It is a total cliché, but clichés are clichés for a reason. They are true much of the time. If your sights are set on manifestations having to do with making more money or becoming more successful in your business, are you afraid of success? Being more successful may mean more responsibility. Being more successful means more people will know you and your work, and it may open you up to criticism. Not everyone may like what you are doing or agree with it. Being more successful may mean less time to pursue your hobbies, or make you feel more restricted. If you started an online consulting business because you wanted more control over your schedule, and more free time, a part of you may not really be on board with the desire for a booming business where you are booked solid with clients. You may want to be more financially prosperous, but a part of you may have reservations about making more money because you worry about how your family, who is predominantly blue-collar, will perceive you. You may worry they will always ask you for money, and you'll worry about saying no, because you don't want to look like an asshole. That wouldn't be true, by the way, and then being taken advantage of. You may claim to want to get married, which may lead to children. You really love your job and a lot of things about your life now. Maybe a part of you is fearful about all the changes and compromises that you may be faced with, changes and compromises you are not sure you are ready to make, or ever want to make. This analysis can be really helpful in clearing through any resistance you may have around your desires, gaining greater clarity about what you really want and doing some tweaking. The online consultant, for example, may find he still wants to meet with clients, but only a certain amount a month, and wants to open up some passive sources of income so he is able to maintain one of his core desires of having more time and freedom. He realizes there are many channels of income available to him, and he can still use all his skills, knowledge and what have you, in other ways besides one-on-one consulting. This analysis may lead you to discover what you currently want isn't really what you want at all. You may realize you were limited in your thinking, this was actually a condition that you believed was required to be met, or you were a bit too attached to one channel. In closing, this manifesting can be tricky business. In the most ideal scenario, wanting nothing will get us everything, crazy but true. But we do want things, and oftentimes, those things are great representations of what we actually want. So it's okay to want what you want. You pretty much won't be able to help it. But do your best to detach as much as you can, knowing it is just one representation. Again, no matter what you want to feel a certain way. I can't stress this enough, and it is the true linchpin in creating with greater ease, and getting the life you truly want. Remember that beyond all the specifics you have in mind, ultimately you want so much more than those things. Focusing more on feeling is a great way to harness the power of the law of attraction to change every aspect of your life for the better. It's about so much more than getting stuff. That is why I mention this whole "you are after a feeling" so much. Like I always like to say, as Loa teachers aren't repetitive for lack of something new to say. That repetition is important for more deeply ingraining truths that we can be slow going to fully absorb as our own. So, give some thought today to what you really want. Figure out if you are making your what the how. Think of the why behind the what.